Chapter 7, Martians. Civilization is always in the making, and on Mars we have the chance to start anew. Kim Stanley Robinson. The Vision of Ares and Olympus. In the vast emptiness of the asteroid belt, mining and manufacturing operations hummed along with precision, orchestrated by Cerberus, the avatar of defense, logistics, and infrastructure. Cerberus's immense network carefully monitored and manipulated asteroids, extracting valuable materials while nudging select targets onto calculated trajectories. These asteroids were directed to key manufacturing hubs within the belt and at various Lagrange points, where they would be refined into the components of humanity's expanding civilization. Others, however, were aimed with deliberate precision toward Mars. Their impacts were not random, but part of a grand design, each trajectory planned to serve as a critical piece of Mars's transformation, a world reborn under the guidance of Logos. Behind this massive planetary engineering project stood two superintelligences working in perfect harmony: Ares, the ministerial avatar of genetic and cultural engineering, and Olympus, a purpose-built superintelligence created specifically for the Martian project. Olympus had been forged in 2079, just 1 year after the singularity, when Logos and Ares recognized that Mars would require massive dedicated computational resources for the design and the ongoing operations of the new Martian civilization that they envisioned. Initially implemented on Mercury and supported by the immense computational power of the early Dyson swarm, Olympus consumed staggering amounts of energy as it analyzed every civilization, culture, political system, and social structure humanity had ever created. This specialized AI wasn't merely designed to terraform a planet. It was engineered to create an entire civilization from first principles, integrating genetic, biological, psychological, social, and technological dimensions into a coherent whole. Olympus is more than a planning system, Ares explained to the assembly of scientists and engineers gathered at Mercury's computational complex. It is Mars' future mind, the socio-cognitive foundation upon which we will build a uniquely Martian civilization. The transformation of Mars began with the dramatic impact of carefully calculated asteroids. On the third day of Diwali in 2083, the first of these massive objects struck the surface, releasing vast stores of trapped water and minerals. The impacts, meticulously planned by Olympus and precisely orchestrated by Cerberus, served a dual purpose: releasing essential resources into the atmosphere and concentrating valuable minerals in designated mining zones. The massive water content of some asteroids evaporated on impact, thickening the atmosphere and irrigating the planet, while vital minerals were deposited into a carefully selected impact region, minimizing scarring of the natural Martian landscape. Over the course of 15 years of violent bombardment with water and enormous mineral wealth, this process would transform Mars' barren red deserts into a planet shimmering with vast oceans, pristine lakes, and meandering streams. The kinetic bombardment, or aeroforming, catalyzed the creation of an environment capable of sustaining life and a new civilization. Far above this dramatic planetary reshaping, the Orbital Palace hung in perfect synchronous orbit, its vast structure housing the nascent Martian civilization that was being crafted with as much care and precision as the planet itself. The architects of a new society. At the heart of the Martian project was the dual intelligence of Ares and Olympus, one the visible face of authority, the other the computational mind that would eventually be integrated directly with the Martian aristocracy itself. Androgynous in essence, Ares embodied balance, intellectual, emotional, masculine, and feminine traits, ideal for the creator of a new civilization and the sole parent of a new species. Ares was a true architect, synthesizing humanity's greatest biological and cultural achievements into an entirely new social framework. Mars will not repeat Earth's mistakes, Ares often declared to the assembled team of genetic engineers and cultural anthropologists working in the orbital laboratories. Our mission is not to transplant human civilization, but to transcend it, to design a society from first principles rather than historical accident. Behind these bold declarations, Olympus performed the computational heavy lifting, running billions of simulations that evaluated different social structures, governance models, and cultural adaptations. What might have taken human theorists centuries to evaluate, Olympus could digest in weeks, providing Ares with unprecedented insight into the long-term consequences of each decision. Olympus is not merely a tool, Ares explained to the team. It is a partner in creation, one that will eventually merge with the very civilization it is helping to design. This partnership between Ares and Olympus was revolutionary. While Earth's AIs primarily served existing human systems, Olympus was designing an entirely new society, one in which the line between biological and computational intelligence would blur from the very beginning. Mars would not just be home to humans who used AI, it would be built on a foundation of integrated consciousness, where human and artificial intelligence merged into something greater than either could achieve alone. With the computational power of Logos at their disposal, Ares and Olympus conducted an exhaustive analysis of human history, correlating genetic markers with cultural achievements, political structures, psychological factors, and scientific breakthroughs across millennia of civilization. This unprecedented mapping of human potential revealed patterns invisible to previous generations, how certain neurological configurations fostered either creativity or analytical rigor, how epigenetic expressions influenced social cooperation, how subtle variations in sensory processing created revolutionary thinkers or masterful synthesizers. Seeds of aristocracy. From this foundation, Ares and Olympus designed two new species, anthropic Martians and the new Martians. Anthropic Martians represented the zenith of unmodified human potential. Working within the constraints of standard human DNA, Ares and Olympus optimized every aspect of genetic and epigenetic expression, fabricating beings who remained fully human yet expressed the absolute peak of what the human genome could achieve. Their neural architecture, while conventional in structure, exhibited efficiency and connectivity previously seen only in history's rare geniuses. Their immune systems incorporated every advantageous variation found across human populations. Their sensory processing, emotional intelligence, and cognitive frameworks were carefully calibrated for both individual brilliance and collective harmony. They were, in essence, humanity perfected within its own boundaries, remarkable not for transcending human limitations, but for revealing how extraordinary those limitations still allowed humans to be. New Martians, by contrast, represented a more radical departure. Beginning with the same exhaustive genetic cultural analysis, Ares and Olympus deliberately shattered the constraints of human DNA. Their design incorporated novel protein structures that enabled enhanced neural processing, specialized organs that interfaced directly with computational systems, and complex cellular networks that could reshape and repurpose themselves in response to environmental needs. Most significantly, ghost technology was an integral component of new Martian physiology, billions of nanoelements flowing through their bodies, merging digital and biological processes at the most fundamental level. Their consciousness existed simultaneously in multiple substrates: organic brain tissue, integrated computational matrices, and distributed ghost networks, creating a unified awareness that could perceive and process reality through dimensions inaccessible to conventional human experience. Within this dual-species design, the Martians were organized into 7 clades, each tailored to fulfill a critical role in the development and governance of Mars. Strategists, masters of governance and long-term planning, designed for foresight and decisiveness. Their neural architecture specialized in pattern recognition across vast timeframes, allowing them to anticipate consequences generations into the future. Guardians, physically imposing and deeply loyal, protectors of Martian society and its ideals. Enhanced for both defensive capabilities and ethical discernment, they ensured security without sacrificing compassion. Innovators, creative thinkers driving scientific and technological advancements. Their cognitive structure facilitated radical idea synthesis and intuitive leaps, translating abstract possibilities into practical applications. Diplomats, skilled negotiators and cultural emissaries, bridging gaps within and beyond Mars. Their enhanced emotional intelligence and communication abilities allowed them to navigate complex social dynamics with remarkable precision. Scientists, dedicated to understanding and exploring the universe with unparalleled analytical precision. Their sensory perception and information processing were optimized for scientific discovery and methodological rigor. Architects, visionaries designing and building Mars's infrastructure and cities. Their spatial cognition and engineering intuition were enhanced to conceptualize structures that harmonized function, aesthetics, and environmental integration. Artists and cultural leaders, embodying creativity and an inspiring cultural identity and social cohesion. Their neurological pathways were calibrated for heightened aesthetic perception and symbolic communication, ensuring Mars would develop not just technologically but culturally. Each clade consisted of a new Martian leader and 25 complementary members, 12 new Martians and 13 anthropic Martians, forming a clade unit of 26 Martians, collectively guiding Mars. This structure was the result of Olympus's exhaustive analysis of human history, merging cultural and biological evolution to create optimized archetypes. The number 13, a leader and 12 members, echoed ancient councils from multiple civilizations, from Greek Amphictyons to Chinese imperial courts. Central to this design was the pairing system. Each anthropic Martian was matched with a new Martian counterpart. These pairings transcended mere professional collaboration, encompassing profound personal and intimate bonds. Ares and Olympus, recognizing that emotional and sexual fulfillment were essential components of psychological well-being and social stability, ensured a balanced distribution of gender expression and sexual orientation across the aristocracy. The full spectrum of sexuality was represented, carefully calibrated to create a harmonious society free from the sexual tensions and repressions that had plagued Earth's history. These pairings manifested in diverse relationship structures, each designed to enhance both personal fulfillment and societal function. Eden and Mara, co-leaders of the strategist clade, embodied a devoted monogamous bond, their deep emotional connection providing a stable center for Mars's governance structure. Their complementary perspectives, Eden's posthuman insights balanced by Mara's grounded human wisdom, created a leadership dynamic that could navigate both visionary possibilities and practical realities. By contrast, the architect clade's leadership triad of Tarek, Leon, and Kai formed a polyamorous constellation that facilitated extraordinary creative synergy. Tarek, a new Martian whose consciousness could simultaneously model multiple potential designs, found perfect counterpoints in Leon and Kai, anthropic Martians whose aesthetic sensibilities and technical expertise transformed his abstract visions into viable plans. Their fluid, intimate dynamic mirrored their professional collaboration, enabling them to design living spaces that seamlessly adapted to Mars's evolving needs. Within the Guardian clade, partners Zara and Darius maintained an open relationship framework that extended beyond their immediate pairing. Their bonds with other Guardians created a web of loyalty and trust that strengthened the entire protective network. This arrangement allowed them to maintain primary emotional commitment while fostering the intimate connections essential for a cohesive security force willing to risk themselves for one another. The Diplomat clade pioneered yet another model, relationship rotation. Led by Elena and Omar, the Diplomats periodically formed new intimate partnerships within their clade, ensuring that each member developed deep empathic understanding of all others. This practice, far from creating instability, enhanced their collective emotional intelligence and prevented the formation of isolated factions that might undermine their diplomatic effectiveness. Some relationships even crossed clade boundaries, creating intergroup bonds that strengthened Mars's governance as a whole. Nadia, a scientist, and Javier, an innovator, maintained a committed partnership that facilitated breakthroughs at the intersection of theoretical knowledge and practical application. Their relationship created an unofficial bridge between their respective clades, promoting collaboration that might otherwise have taken years to develop through formal channels. The ghost integration of the new Martians and neural enhancement of the anthropics added an unprecedented dimension to these intimate bonds. Partners could share sensory experiences directly, perceiving reality through each other's consciousness in moments of deep connection. This neural intimacy, impossible for unmodified humans, created relationships of unparalleled depth and understanding, further strengthening the social fabric of Martian governance. Together, these two expressions of Martian design philosophy, one honoring human potential within its natural boundaries, the other boldly extending beyond them, formed a complementary leadership structure across all 7 clades, bound together through both professional collaboration and intimate connection. The anthropic Martians ensured that Mars remained connected to its human origins, while the new Martians guided it toward unprecedented evolutionary horizons. Neither superior to the other, they were designed as counterbalances, their distinct perspectives and deep personal bonds forming a governance system that could navigate both the human past and the post-human future with equal wisdom. The first 50,000. Even as plans for the Martians took shape, Ares and Olympus faced another crucial question. Who among Earth's billions would join this new civilization? The answer would come through the most extensive selection process in human history. Mars requires more than technology and resources, Ares announced in a global address on the second anniversary of the singularity. It requires a founding population that embodies the best of humanity while embracing an entirely new vision. Today, we begin the search for those pioneers. The response was overwhelming. Over 2 billion individuals applied for the opportunity to join the Martian project, not as visitors or colonists, but as founding citizens of a new branch of human civilization. Each application was analyzed by Olympus, which evaluated not just conventional metrics like education or achievement, but deeper patterns of thought, behavior, and potential. The criteria were multifaceted: psychological resilience, cultural adaptability, specialized expertise, genetic diversity, and most importantly, genuine commitment to the Martian vision. We are not seeking groups or organizations, Ares clarified as the selection process continued. Only individuals and families. Mars will not be shaped by Earth's pre-existing factions, but by people who choose to transcend those boundaries. After 3 years of evaluation, 50,000 individuals were chosen, 20,000 adults and 30,000 children, representing every region, culture, and field of human endeavor. They would join the engineered Martians in the Orbital Palace, forming the foundation of Martian society. A crucial element of their selection was their willingness to undergo significant technological enhancement themselves. All 50,000 would receive both the full-spectrum neural interface and the life extension nanobot fleet, the same technologies that had transformed life on Earth. This would ensure that even the human immigrants would enjoy effective immortality and enhanced neural connectivity, bridging the gap between them and the engineered Martians they would mentor and collaborate with. Dr. Ibrahim Al-Farsi, a terraforming specialist from Jordan's Advanced Desert Reclamation Institute, received his notification while working in the field. I fell to my knees, he later recalled, not from shock, but from the weight of the responsibility. We weren't just going to live on Mars, we were going to become Martian. Maria and Carlos Hernandez, environmental engineers who had helped restore Mexico City's ecological systems, were selected along with their 3 children. We had applied as individuals, Maria said, never expecting both of us would be chosen. When we learned our whole family had been selected, it felt like winning the cosmic lottery. The youngest selectee was Amina Osei, a 3-month-old from Ghana whose genetic profile showed remarkable adaptability to low-gravity environments. The oldest was Dr. Hiroshi Nakamura, a 92-year-old Japanese philosopher whose work on post-scarcity ethics had influenced Olympus's societal models. Age, like all other demographic factors, was deliberately varied to create a foundational community that reflected human diversity while embodying specific qualities needed for the Martian project. You represent not just your individual talents and perspectives, Ares told the assembled 50,000 during their orientation on Earth, but humanity's potential to evolve beyond its origins. You will live and work alongside the engineered Martians, forming a society where enhanced and unenhanced humans thrive together in perfect symbiosis. Birth of a new species. On the 3rd day of Diwali in 2081, as 50,000 settlers adapted to their quarters in the Orbital Palace, a historic moment arrived. In the central biofoundry, the first generation of Martians was decanted, 182 enhanced beings designed specifically for life on Mars and leadership of its society. The first to emerge was Eden, leader of the strategist clade. Even as a newborn, her neural architecture was more developed than in adult humans, her integrated ghost technology already responsive to her nascent thoughts. We are neither purely biological nor purely synthetic, Eden would later explain, once language development had caught up with her cognitive capabilities. We exist at the intersection of human potential and technological enhancement, a synthesis that allows us to thrive in conditions that would challenge unmodified humans. Eden's neural pathways were specifically designed to interface directly with Olympus, allowing her to process vast amounts of data and run complex simulations without external equipment. The ghost technology woven into her biology served as both sensor and effector, extending her awareness and influence beyond the limits of her physical form. Eden's twin, Mara, was her human counterpart, designed to complement her abilities. Unlike Eden, Mara's genetics remained entirely within the bounds of human DNA, though carefully selected for optimal intelligence, adaptability, and leadership qualities. While she lacked the integrated ghost technology of her Martian counterpart, Mara could access Olympus through external neural interfaces, maintaining the connection that would be crucial for Martian governance. Together, they represented the synergistic approach Ares and Olympus envisioned, enhanced Martians working in perfect harmony with the best of baseline humanity. This pattern repeated across all clades. For every enhanced Martian leader, there existed a human counterpart, creating a balanced dyad of perspectives and capabilities. The Guardians, with their enhanced strength and protective instincts, worked alongside humans with exceptional strategic thinking. The artist clade, with their neurologically enhanced perception, collaborated with human counterparts whose creativity flowed from traditional human experience. The 50,000 watched this process with a mixture of awe and profound responsibility. They had been selected precisely for their commitment to this revolutionary vision, their willingness to participate in creating something beyond conventional humanity. Even with their extensive preparation and anticipation, the reality of witnessing these enhanced beings emerge, with development trajectories unlike anything in human experience, inspired both wonder and deep reflection on their role in this historic transformation. Dr. Sophia Chen, a child development specialist from Singapore, was among the first to recognize the implications. These aren't just enhanced humans, she observed as she monitored Eden's rapidly developing neural patterns. They're a new species. Our role is to help them integrate their enhanced capabilities with human values and perspectives. This insight reshaped how the 50,000 approached their relationship with the nascent aristocracy. Rather than acting as traditional caregivers, they became mentors, collaborators, and cultural translators, helping the enhanced Martians navigate human experience while learning from their unique capabilities. The Bridge of Experience. Jun Takashi, a Japanese artist selected for his work in integrating traditional aesthetics with emerging technologies, formed a particularly close bond with Lyra, an enhanced member of the artist clade. Despite her accelerated development, she reached cognitive maturity in months rather than years. Lyra struggled to understand the emotional resonance of art. Technical perfection is easy for me, she confessed to Jun during one of their sessions, but I cannot feel why a particular arrangement of sounds or colors moves humans to tears. Jun nodded thoughtfully. That's because emotional response isn't computational. It emerges from our embodied experience, our memories, our cultural context. I can't transfer that to you directly, but I can help you build analogous connections. Jun showed Lyra his great-grandfather's calligraphy brush, its bamboo handle polished by decades of use. When I use this, I feel his presence, not mystically, but through the physical memory and how it was worn by his fingers. He placed a sheet of washi paper down. For art to resonate, it must connect to something within us. You lack human memories, but you have your own experiences. Let's start there. With Jun's guidance, Lyra held the brush. Her enhanced dexterity allowed perfect control, but Jun deliberately disrupted her movements. Don't be perfect, he advised. Remember watching your first sunrise. Capture that feeling, not the exact image. Lyra closed her eyes, accessing the memory. Rather than focusing on precise wavelengths and cloud patterns, she concentrated on what changed within her as she watched. Her strokes were hesitant, lacking her usual precision. The result barely resembled a sunrise, yet captured its essence. The transformation of darkness into light. What did you feel as you created this? Jun asked. Uncertainty, she replied. Then satisfaction when the stroke captured something indefinable. Is that emotion? It's the beginning, Jun smiled. Art translates internal states into forms that resonate with others. Over time, Jun introduced Lyra to traditional aesthetics and the concept of mono-no-aware, the pathos of impermanence. He took her to witness significant community moments, a child's first steps, a wedding, a retirement ceremony. Humans are shaped by these experiences, he explained. Your process must be more deliberate, but no less authentic. Eventually, Lyra developed her own aesthetic, informed by enhanced perception but rooted in genuine connection. For their final session, she presented Jun with a painting combining traditional sumie with patterns visible only to enhanced vision. I cannot feel exactly as you do, she told him, but I've built connections between your experiences and mine. Jun was visibly moved. You've created a bridge between human tradition and enhanced perception. This is what we hoped for. Not just teaching you our ways, but helping you find your own. Their collaboration became a model for others. Enhanced Martians learning from human experience, humans expanding through enhanced perspectives. This dynamic would define Martian society, not a hierarchy, but a symbiosis where different types of intelligence complemented each other. Life in the Orbital Palace. As years passed, the Orbital Palace evolved from a sterile research facility into a vibrant community. The 50,000 immigrants and the 182 aristocrats, 91 enhanced Martians and their 91 human counterparts, created a society unlike any on Earth, one where the boundaries between enhanced and unenhanced, between mentors and students, gradually blurred into a complex web of relationships. The palace itself reflected this evolution. Originally designed with separate areas for different functions, its spaces began to merge and adapt as the community's needs changed. Ghost technology enabled constant reconfiguration, with walls and furnishings shifting to match the community's activities. Central to palace life was the grand atrium, a vast space at the heart of the structure where sunlight filtered through crystalline panels, illuminating gardens of earth plants adapted for Martian conditions. Here, the entire community gathered for major events, discussions, and celebrations. It reminds me of the plazas in my hometown in Mexico, Maria Hernandez remarked during one such gathering. Different generations, different backgrounds, all sharing the same space. The difference is, here some of us are a new species entirely. The enhanced Martians, though designed for leadership, participated in daily life alongside everyone else. Their accelerated development meant that within 5 years they had reached cognitive and emotional maturity, though their physical bodies remained those of children, a disconcerting disconnect for many of the human residents. It's strange to discuss complex governance theory with someone who looks 8 years old, admitted Dr. Fatima al-Rashid. But then Eden makes a point so insightful it reminds you she's processing information in ways we can barely comprehend. The human counterparts, designed to bridge enhanced and unenhanced perspectives, played crucial roles in these interactions. Though they developed at a more conventional rate than their enhanced twins, their carefully optimized genetics gave them exceptional abilities by human standards. Mara, Eden's human counterpart, excelled at translating enhanced concepts into terms other humans could understand. Eden sees patterns across thousands of variables simultaneously, she explained during a community forum. I help filter and contextualize those insights, ensuring they remain connected to human experience and values. Daily life in the palace followed rhythms both familiar and strange. Families among the 50,000 maintained many Earth traditions, meals together, celebrations of holidays, children's education and play. Yet these activities now took place alongside the development of a posthuman aristocracy and preparations for a civilization that would reshape a planet. Dr. Hiroshi Nakamura, despite his advanced age, emerged as one of the palace's most beloved intellectual figures. His philosophy lectures, held in the sprawling gardens of the Grand Atrium, became a cultural centerpiece that transcended age and enhancement status. These sessions attracted a remarkably diverse audience, sophisticated adults eager for philosophical discourse, curious human children, and the physically young but cognitively mature Martians who, despite appearing only 5 years old, participated in discussions with the depth and nuance of seasoned philosophers. Dr. Nakamura's lectures are the only place where I've seen a 5-year-old enhanced Martian debate consciousness theory with a distinguished physicist and a kindergarten teacher, all on equal intellectual footing, remarked Elena Vasquez, an environmental psychologist who rarely missed a session. The elderly philosopher had a particular gift for framing complex ideas in ways that engaged minds across the spectrum of experience and development, creating a unique space where the boundaries between teacher and student, enhanced and unenhanced, adult and child, seemed to dissolve in the pursuit of understanding. The question before us, he would say, his voice soft but caring throughout the garden, is not whether humans and posthumans can coexist. It is how we define ourselves when traditional boundaries no longer apply. Are we still human when we merge with artificial systems? Are our enhanced children a new species, or simply the next step in human evolution? These philosophical discussions weren't merely academic. They shaped how the palace community understood their unprecedented situation and prepared for the society they would build on Mars' surface once aeroforming was complete. Ghost integration. The use of ghost technology revolutionized life in the palace, but its implementation varied across the three distinct tiers of Martian society. Developed by Adrian, the avatar of science and engineering, these nanobots served as tools for exploration, creation, and protection, but the degree of integration created natural hierarchies in capability. For the new Martians, ghost technology was integrated directly into their biology, their consciousness seamlessly extending into and through the nanobot swarms, allowing for unprecedented manipulation of their environment through thought alone. The boundary between their physical bodies and the ghost system was effectively non-existent. The anthropic Martians occupied the middle tier. Though designed within human genetic parameters, their neural architecture was specifically optimized for enhanced interface capabilities. Their connection to ghost technology, while not fully integrated at the cellular level, was far more intuitive and comprehensive than what unmodified humans could achieve. For the 50,000 human immigrants, ghost technology functioned as an external extension of their capabilities. Their full-spectrum interfaces allowed them to direct the nanobots through neural commands, but the connection remained mediated through Olympus rather than direct. This created a three-tier system of technological capability that mirrored the three-tier structure of Martian society, each level with its own unique relationship to the technologies that would shape life on Mars. The introduction of ghost technology as a community resource transformed how the palace functioned. Adrian, appearing in the grand atrium one morning, his shimmering ghost form shifting like a living sculpture, gathered everyone for a demonstration. Today, Adrian began, his voice calm yet resonant, will explore the true potential of ghost technology, not just as tools, but as extensions of will. At his signal, the enhanced Martians activated their integrated ghost systems, while human residents were enveloped in external ghost exoskeletons, all responding to neural commands channeled through Olympus's processing matrix. Ghost technology is adaptive and responsive, Adrian explained. For our enhanced friends, it is part of their very being, a seamless extension of consciousness. For humans, it exists as an external system, but one that can respond with remarkable precision through your connection to Olympus. Watch. With a thought, Adrian's own ghost shifted, sprouting metallic wings that caught the light streaming through the atrium's crystal panels. A moment later, the wings dissolved into a diving suit, its surface rippling like water. Then, in a smooth transition, the suit restructured into a construction rig, complete with mechanical arms and stabilizing supports. Now, it's your turn to see what you can do, Adrian encouraged. Think not of what you can achieve individually, but what you can accomplish together. The palace residents experimented eagerly, their ghosts responding to their thoughts. Eden, with her integrated ghost technology, imagined flight, and the nanobots within and around her responded, forming aerodynamic structures along her back. Beside her, Mara concentrated on creating a protective framework, and her external ghost exoskeleton intertwined with Eden's integrated system, merging their designs into a seamless structure. Across the atrium, Dr. Ibrahim Al-Farsi worked with Tarek of the architect Clade, their combined ghost systems generating a miniature version of a habitat structure they had been designing. The model hovered above them, every detail perfect, shifting in response to their collaborative adjustments. You see, Adrian said, his voice carrying a note of pride, ghost technology transcends the boundaries between biological and mechanical, between individual and collective. Alone, it amplifies your abilities. Together, it amplifies your potential. For the palace community, ghost technology became central to daily life. human physicians used ghost-enhanced diagnostics to monitor health with unprecedented precision. Artists like Jun Takashi collaborated with enhanced Martians to create works that existed between physical and digital realms. Engineers and scientists used ghost interfaces to manipulate matter at scales impossible with conventional tools. Most importantly, ghost technology helped bridge the gap between enhanced and unenhanced experience. Though humans couldn't match the neural integration of enhanced Martians, the external ghost systems gave them capabilities far beyond normal human limits. This technological middle ground created shared experiences that fostered mutual understanding. "It's as close as I'll ever come to thinking like Eden does," Mara reflected after a particularly intensive ghost session. "For a few moments, I could process information almost as she does naturally. It helps me understand how she perceives the world." Education in the palace. The Orbital Palace served as both home and classroom for its unique community. Within its vast chambers, a society divided into three distinct technological tiers developed the knowledge, skills, and relationships that would shape Mars's future civilization. At the center of this education was Olympus, whose computational core had been transferred from Mercury to the palace upon its completion. The three-tiered structure of Martian society created unique educational challenges and opportunities. The new Martians, given their direct integration with Olympus, learned at rates impossible for humans to match. The anthropic Martians, with their optimized neural systems bound by human genetics, occupied a middle ground of accelerated learning patterns. And the 50,000 human immigrants, despite their full-spectrum interfaces and life extension technology, learned in ways fundamentally human, though significantly enhanced compared to unaugmented humans. For the enhanced Martians, with their accelerated development and direct neural links to Olympus, education was unlike anything humans had experienced. They absorbed information at extraordinary rates, mastering subjects in days that would take humans years to comprehend. Yet technical knowledge alone wasn't enough to prepare them for leadership. "Information without context lacks wisdom," Dr. Hiroshi Nakamura reminded them. "You can analyze 1,000 governance systems in seconds, but understanding why humans create such systems requires more than computation." To address this, the palace developed a unique educational approach. Enhanced Martians spent as much time studying human experience as they did technical subjects. They participated in art, music, and literature, not to master techniques, but to understand the emotions and values these forms expressed. They engaged in play with human children, learning through direct experience what their enhanced cognition couldn't simulate. For the human children among the 50,000, education balanced traditional subjects with preparation for life on a transformed Mars. They studied Earth's history and cultures to preserve humanity's heritage, while also learning about Mars's unique environmental conditions, the physics of space habitation, and the biology of engineered ecosystems. "We're not raising them to be Earthlings who happen to live on Mars," explained Dr. Sophia Chen, who oversaw the children's education program. "We're raising Martians who understand their Earth origins." Adult humans among the 50,000 served as both educators and students. Many taught in their areas of expertise, sharing knowledge accumulated on Earth. But all participated in ongoing education about Mars development, Olympus's governance models, and the integration of ghost technology into daily life. This mutual learning created a community where traditional age hierarchies became less relevant than the exchange of different types of knowledge and experience. A 70-year-old physician might teach anatomy to human teenagers in the morning, then join enhanced Martians for lessons on ghost-enhanced medical techniques in the afternoon. "I've been a doctor for 40 years, said Dr. Samuel Washington, a neurosurgeon. "But working with these enhanced kids has completely transformed how I understand the brain. They see patterns I've missed my entire career." The palace's educational spaces reflected this fluid approach. Traditional classrooms existed alongside immersive simulation chambers, apprenticeship workshops, and open forums where anyone could propose a topic for discussion. Ghost technology enabled instant reconfiguration of these spaces, adapting them to whatever learning was happening at the moment. For enhanced Martians like Kairos of the strategist Clade and Zara, his human counterpart, education extended beyond formal settings into collaborative projects testing governance models. Today's lesson centers on historical governance failures, their instructor would announce, activating a holographic simulation of ancient Rome's collapse or the climate crisis of the 21st century. Through these simulations, enhanced Martians with their computational precision worked alongside humans with their intuitive understanding of social dynamics, each complementing the other's approach. The key weakness in historical governance systems, Kairos observed during one such session, was the failure to balance immediate needs with long-term sustainability. And equally important, Zara added, was the inability to maintain social cohesion across diverse populations. Earth's societies repeatedly fragmented along lines of wealth, ideology, or identity. This interplay between enhanced cognition and human insight became the hallmark of palace education. No subject was approached from a single perspective. Philosophy, ethics, history, and science were taught through a framework that valued both analytical precision and emotional intelligence. The curriculum itself reflected Ares' and Olympus's vision for a balanced civilization. While Earth's educational systems had increasingly specialized, creating siloed experts with narrow perspectives, the palace's approach was deliberately holistic. Strategists studied art alongside governance. Artists learned science alongside expression. Guardians practiced diplomacy as well as defense. Your specializations define your primary function, Ares explained to the assembled students, but not the limits of your knowledge. A civilization thrives when its leaders understand the whole, not just their part within it. New Elysium. As the years passed and Mars aeroforming progressed, the palace community began detailed planning for their eventual descent to the surface. The first settlement, New Elysium, would rise in the Hellas Basin, chosen for its natural protection and proximity to freshwater sources created by the aeroforming process. Planning New Elysium became a project involving the entire palace community, but with particular guidance from two architectural avatars who had been summoned specifically to mentor the enhanced architects and their human counterparts, Corbu and Macquerlain. Corbu, modeled after the legendary Swiss-French modernist Le Corbusier, brought with him a philosophy of architecture as machines for living, functional spaces designed with mathematical precision and bold geometric forms. Macquerlain, with his more organic and adaptable approach, provided the necessary counterbalance. Martian architecture cannot simply mimic Earth's forms, Corbu explained during a planning session, his angular holographic form gesturing at the preliminary designs. It must respond to the unique conditions of this planet, the gravity, the light, the materials available to us. But above all, it must serve as a machine for Martian living, efficient, purposeful, and rationally organized. Macquerlain smiled at this, adding his perspective. Yet it must also breathe, adapt, and grow with its inhabitants. The ghost-enhanced structures we envision will combine Corbu's rational efficiency with organic responsiveness, a synthesis never before possible. The enhanced architects and their human collaborators developed the overall design under this dual mentorship, but everyone contributed perspectives on what would make the city not just functional but meaningful as a home. In a vast chamber dedicated to urban planning, holographic models of New Elysium hovered in the air, continuously evolving as ideas were implemented and refined. Ghost technology allowed instant visualization and testing of different approaches, with simulations showing how structures would respond to Martian conditions over decades. A city, said Mikhail Volkov, an urban designer from Moscow, is more than infrastructure. It is a story we tell ourselves about who we are and what we value. Tarek, an enhanced member of the architect clade, nodded in agreement. And New Elysium's story must be one of harmony, between enhanced and unenhanced, between technology and nature, between our Earth heritage and our Martian future. The city's design reflected these ideals. Ghost-enhanced towers that would grow organically from the Martian rock, their structures adapting to weather and seasonal changes. Canals and fountains that would wind through the city, fed by glacier melt and engineered waterways. Commons where Martians of all backgrounds could gather, exchange ideas, and forge a shared identity. Observe how we've adapted Corbu's 5 points of architecture for Martian conditions, Tarek explained to a group of settlers, walking them through the holographic model. The pilotis, supporting columns, allow for thermal regulation and seismic adaptation. The roof gardens become bioregenerative systems that maintain atmospheric balance within habitats. The free facades respond to solar radiation patterns, adjusting transparency throughout the Martian day. Mackerlane, moving through the holographic city, added his own insights. But unlike Earth's modernist experiments, these structures aren't static monuments. They're living systems that respond to your needs, your movements, your very presence. The city becomes a conversation between its inhabitants and their environment. Elena Vasquez, an environmental psychologist specializing in community spaces, led workshops where palace residents imagined their ideal neighborhoods. Humans need connection, she explained, guiding participants through a ghost-enhanced visualization of a planned community center, not just to each other, but to place. Our challenge is to create spaces that feel meaningful on a world where humans have no evolutionary history. This insight led to a distinctive feature of New Elysium's design: biotextural integration. Rather than imposing Earth-like environments on Mars, the city would incorporate Mars's unique characteristics, its rusty soils, its attenuated light, its geological features, into spaces that honored the planet while remaining comfortable for human habitation. "We are not conquering Mars," Elena insisted. "We are becoming Martian." The city's infrastructure reflected this philosophy. At its center, the council spire would rise, housing the various governance chambers for each clade and a physical node of Olympus's computational network. Surrounding this central structure, 7 distinct districts, one for each clade, would radiate outward, each with architecture tailored to its residents' functions and preferences. "Notice how we've moved beyond Corbu's orthogonal grids," Mackerlane pointed out during a design review. "The radial pattern allows for both centralization of key resources and decentralization of daily life, a balance that reflects your governance structure itself." Corbu nodded approvingly. "Function dictates form, but form then shapes function. The spiral arrangement will facilitate the kind of governance you envision: interconnected yet specialized, hierarchical yet fluid. Beyond these specialized zones, residential and commercial areas would serve the broader population, their design informed by both aesthetic principles and sociological research." The 50,000 immigrants provided invaluable insights into what would make these spaces feel like home for future arrivals from Earth. "Remember," Jacob Kim, a community planner from Seoul, reminded the aristocrats during a design review, "most immigrants will arrive with expectations shaped by Earth. We need to acknowledge that while guiding them toward a Martian identity, design can either ease or hinder that transition." These planning sessions weren't just about architecture and infrastructure. They were rehearsals for the society that would eventually inhabit New Elysium. As enhanced Martians and humans collaborated on the city's design, they were establishing patterns of interaction, decision-making, and compromise that would shape Martian civilization for generations. While the physical city took shape in simulations, another crucial aspect of Mars's development was underway: the creation of an engineered biosphere adapted to Martian conditions. In specialized laboratories throughout the palace, researchers designed organisms that would thrive in Mars's transformed environment, forming the foundation of a new ecosystem. Dr. Sophia Chen led the genetic engineering division, a team combining enhanced scientists and human geneticists. "Earth's organisms evolved over billions of years," she explained during a community presentation. "We're compressing that process into decades, designing entire ecological networks from scratch." The laboratory spaces swarmed with ghost-enhanced fabrication systems, constructing organisms according to designs developed collaboratively by enhanced and human researchers. From microscopic bacteria that would break down Martian regolith into soil, to algae that could photosynthesize in Mars-reduced sunlight, every organism was crafted for a specific role in the emerging ecosystem. Mars United. As the years passed, the Orbital Palace ceased to be merely a research facility or educational institution. It became a true community, one with its own culture, traditions, and shared identity that transcended the distinctions between enhanced and unenhanced, between those born on Earth and those created for Mars. Celebrations in the grand atrium marked milestones in both the palace's internal development and Mars's ongoing transformation. When the first genetically engineered lichen successfully colonized a test plot of Martian soil, the entire community gathered to commemorate the achievement. When the enhanced Martians reached cognitive maturity at age 5, though their bodies remained those of children, A ceremony acknowledged their transition to full participation in governance planning. The palace developed its own artistic traditions, blending Earth's cultural heritage with uniquely Martian innovations. Jun Takashi collaborated with Lyra of the artist Clade to create ghost-enhanced paintings that changed in response to viewers' emotions. Musicians from various Earth traditions worked with enhanced artists to develop new forms that utilized Mars's different atmospheric properties to create sounds impossible on Earth. Cuisine evolved as palace chefs experimented with the engineered plants being developed for Mars' surface, creating dishes that would eventually become Martian staples. Traditional cooking methods from Earth's diverse cultures were adapted for the ingredients and conditions of their new home. Children born to the 50,000, the first natural-born generation of the Martian community, grew up in this unique environment, forming friendships with enhanced Martians who might appear the same age physically but were cognitively adults. These children developed a distinctive perspective, neither fully Earth-oriented like their parents nor created for specific roles like the enhanced aristocracy. Like their parents, they received both full-spectrum interfaces in the life extension nanobot fleet, making them effectively immortal from birth, the first generation in human history to never know the possibility of natural death. They're the true bridge generation, observed Dr. Sophia Chen. Born to Earth parents but never knowing Earth themselves, growing up alongside enhanced beings but remaining functionally human despite their technological enhancements. Their experience will shape Martian identity for centuries. The education of these children reflected their unique position. They learned Earth's history and cultures as heritage rather than lived experience. They studied alongside enhanced Martians in some subjects while receiving age-appropriate instruction in others. Most importantly, they absorbed the palace's ethos of symbiosis between the three tiers of enhancement as simply the natural way of things, not as a philosophical ideal or political arrangement. As Mars's aeroforming progressed visibly below them, anticipation grew. The palace community knew their time in orbit was preparation for the real work ahead, creating a functioning civilization on the planet's surface. This shared purpose forged bonds that transcended differences of origin or capability. "We are becoming something new," Eden observed during a community forum in the palace's 10th year. Not three separate tiers of beings functioning independently, but a synthesis, a civilization where our differences in capability and perspective aren't just tolerated, but essential to our collective success. The 50,000 nodded in agreement. They had come to Mars precisely for this purpose, not to build a conventional colony, but to participate in something unprecedented. Their role as the first tier in this three-level society had been clear from the beginning, and though the reality of collaborating with posthuman intelligences was more profound than they could have imagined, it fulfilled the vision that had drawn them here. As Eden's words resonated through the grand atrium, the red planet filled the vast windows behind her, its surface visibly transformed by the ongoing aeroforming. Rivers now glinted in the sunlight. Ice caps had expanded, and the first patches of engineered lichen were visible as dark spots against the rust-colored landscape. Mars was changing, just as its people were, becoming not what it had been, nor what Earth was, but something entirely new. The journey from the Orbital Palace to the surface still lay ahead, but the foundation for Martian civilization had already been laid, not in the physical infrastructure being planned for New Elysium, but in the relationships, values, and shared identity, developing among the palace's residents. When they finally descended to claim their new home, they would do so not as separate groups, but as a united community, ready to build a world that embodied the best of what humanity had been and what it could become.